The two men made room for a third person to walk through, the man who spoke. He was the most gorgeous man in the entire world, standing at 7 feet, with black hair, dark blazing onyx eyes, and high, chiseled cheekbones. His blazing gaze stuck on me, and slowly I felt Grayson's arms ease around me, and I almost stumbled, but touched the wall for support. The man took 3 large steps towards me and raised his hand to caress my cheek. I felt sparks rush through my skin, making me jolt back.
Mine,
he growled. I was trembling ever so slightly, and my heart was pounding as he stared at me like I was worth everything. I wasn't, though. I've been told and reminded that I was nothing every day of my life by the way they treated and mocked me. But the handsome man's gaze on me made me feel like I was worth something. It was a foreign feeling. I didn't know what it was yet, but it made me powerless. Not in a bad way. I was frozen in place, unable to react, whereas my eyes were stuck on his own.
That girl can't be your mate. She's nothing!
Debbie's infuriating voice shouted, and the king abruptly shifted his gaze to her. Her body instantly started to tremble. She backed away, cold sweat running down her temple. Then she stumbled and fell to the ground.
Why the fuck is your son harassing my mate, Mars?
He growled. He wasn't loud, but the authoritative tone he commanded made me shiver. Alpha Mars was petrified.
Mate?
He stuttered, as if trying to register it. If this wasn't a scary situation, I'd laugh at him. Grayson was so stiff, fear evident on his face.
Yes.
He extended his hand toward me to take, but I shook my head. I felt dread deep in the pit of my stomach, and I did the one thing that came to my mind. Run. Get her. I heard a bored voice command. I reached outside into the garden and climbed the first tree I saw, hoping the men he sent after me wouldn't find me. But they stopped right under me. Did she fly? How fast is she? I heard one of the men say. They lingered around. Crack. I closed my eyes shut as the branch I was holding onto broke, and I fell right into the arms of one of the men. He looked down at me with a frown and dropped me to the floor. I landed on my side. I'm sure I was bruised, too.
Jet!
His friend hissed. I groaned at the slight pain I felt in my arm. I glared up at the man who dropped me, and then his friends, before getting to my feet. I backed away, running to go around him, but he blocked my route. Stay away from me. My voice was quivering so badly, and the man in front of me only smirked.
What if I don't, teeny bird? What are you going to do? Fly into the sky this time? I doubt those short legs of yours can take you far.
The blonde guy mocked, and I was affronted. How dare he call me short? At 5'9", I was taller than most girls my age.
The king wants you back, and I'm too drunk to chase you. Let's go back, tiny bird.
Jet, I think, said, making his friend chuckle. Was tiny bird a thing now? Seriously? That man who claims to be my mate is the king? He answered. I already suspected it by his aura, but I couldn't believe it still. The king of wolves? My heart started to pound again. How can I be mated to a freaking king? I'm not going to him. He's not my mate, no! I snickered, adamant on not going with them. My wolf didn't sense him as my mate. The goddess would not be so callous as to pair me up with a killer. My words seemed to stun them as they glanced at each other. I used this chance to bolt. However, I didn't get far before I was hoisted into the air. One of the giants threw me over his shoulder. I screamed as I hung upside down, hitting his back with my elbow. Put me down! I yelled, to no avail. He carried me towards the hall. He put me down in the most ungraceful manner, and I let out a cuss, making the audience gasp at my audacity. Fuck werewolf hearing. I was in front of the high table. No one spoke, and I wanted to faint. I didn't know if maybe it was from the way I was carried or if it was the Alpha King's grilling gaze on me. But I didn't dare to look up. Instead, I stole glances at Alpha Mars and Beta Steven, who were glaring at me. Grayson just looked disoriented by all this. All alcohol gone from his body now. And next to him was Stacy. She was embarrassed by all this, especially since her new husband was all over me earlier. I felt it when the king stood forward. His demeanor carried authority. More power than any alpha I've ever known. No one compared.